If the Florida Gators figure these things out, well, my God, they just might win a national championship.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. Happy Tuesday. As always, I am Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and just code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. And I wanted to make sure that everybody understands this. I phrased this the way that I phrase this. I said if Florida does these things, they can win a national championship. Because while what I'm talking about is relevant to the Auburn game this Saturday, it is also applied to if Florida beats Auburn, then they need to do these things against either Duke or Houston, right? And for me, one of the biggest things that I've been harping on and that I've been very frustrated with lately and that I've been talking about a lot is that Florida needs to figure out what the hell is going on with their defensive rebounding. And it's been since the start of the SEC tournament that I've been complaining about it, right? It's been a thing that happened here and there throughout the entirety of the season, but it feels like especially lately their defensive rebounding has taken a dip, right? You look at the Missouri game in the SEC tournament is one that I mentioned frequently because Florida had the size advantage that entire time and lost. And by lost, I don't mean obviously that they were out rebounded in it, but that they had a subpar performance on the defensive glass against Missouri. I mean, Missouri had 18 offensive rebounds against Florida. Florida had 23 defensive rebounds. That means that Missouri had 18 rebounds on those looks, and it was just bad, right? Bad. I mean, that's a 44% offensive rebounding percentage. That's not something that should happen, right? You look at the game against Texas Tech, and Texas Tech had a 31% offensive rebounding percentage. You look at the game against Maryland, that was the game where Florida actually just dominated the boards. Like that's what we need to see, more of that. But you look at the total regular season, right? From game one all the way through the regular season, Florida allowed 9.6, and we're going to throw numbers at you just so you know. Florida allowed 9.6 offensive rebounds per game while getting 21.7 defensive rebounds per game. That's an offensive rebounding percentage allowed of 26.16%. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat a damn thing. That's pretty good to allow that low a percentage, 26.16%. Conference play. So this is from the start of SEC play through the regular season. Allowed 9.7 offensive rebounds per game. Basically the same, right? Went from 9.6 to 9.7 while getting 25.4 defensive rebounds per game. So a rebound and a half less defensively. Okay. That's an offensive rebounding percentage of 26.7%. That's a jump. Again, this is one of those things that we talk about where when we talk about percentages with this team and we talk about percentages for this Florida Gators basketball team and throughout the course of a season or throughout the course of a single game, it adds up, right? A 1% difference or a 1.5% difference in one game really might mean nothing, right? But it's over the course of the season, and averages are averages because they usually average out. Who'd have thought? So that means that there's some games where that difference is larger and some games where it's smaller. That's how averages are working. But that climb over the course of a season, over the course of the conference play, not a good climb, right? You look at the SEC tournament, and Florida allowed 9.3 offensive rebounds per game. Okay? So allowing 9.3 offensive rebounds per game, that's less offensive rebounds per game than they allowed. They only got 24 defensive rebounds per game. That's a offensive rebound percentage allowed of 28%. So again, a slight uptick from the start or from regular season to the SEC tournament, slight uptick from 26.7% to 28%. And again, I know we're talking percentages and some people get annoyed by that, but context matters on things, which we will talk about in a second. In the NCAA tournament so far, in March Madness, Florida has allowed 11.5 offensive rebounds per game. 2 more offensive rebounds per game than usual. Okay? They get 25 defensive rebounds per game. 1 more defensive rebound per game than the SEC tournament, right? So they're allowing, well, compared to the regular season, they're allowing 2 more offensive rebounds while getting 2 less defensive rebounds. Okay? In the NCAA tournament, they are allowing an offensive rebounding percentage of 31.5%. That's bad, okay? Allowing an offensive rebounding percentage of 31.5% would have Florida, again, if that was over the course of the entire season, that would have Florida ranked 263rd in the country. 263rd in the country right now. That's where they would be. And I need that to be made very clear because that's where it is. Also, by the way, in the tournament remaining, Auburn is the only team that's worse at allowing those than Florida. But that 31.5%, again, is horrible right now, what they're allowing. That across the entire of the country and across the MEAC, across the worst conferences. I mentioned the MEAC because Florida played Norfolk State, so that's relevant. That's statistically relevant. But against even the lowest level, that would be in the 260s. That's a horrible percentage to allow. Okay? That they're allowing 31.5% right now. Horrible. And again, context matters, right? Prior to conference play, they played worse teams. Makes sense. They should dominate on the boards. But right now, because it's gotten worse as they've gone on, it's gotten worse throughout the course of the season. Right now, that's where it adds up. Right? Like averages are the averages, but when you're facing a team like Auburn, who you're going to face this weekend, and again, you're not doing a good job protecting the defensive, you're not doing a good job protecting defensive rebounding. Auburn, a pretty good offensive rebounding team, not as good as Florida, of course. Florida is the 5th best offensive rebounding team in the country and the first remaining, like the best remaining. But Auburn, pretty good at it. They're going to hurt you. Houston, really good at it. Houston is almost as good as Florida when it comes to getting offensive rebounds. So if you do play Houston, that's going to suck. That's going to hurt, right? Like they're really good at it. It adds up and you're at a time where it's all about winning within the margins, right? And that's why I understand, like I've seen people say that they hate the usage of numbers. First off, not bad to have more information, okay? But also, the Final Four and the national championship, they come down to winning within the margins oftentimes, right? Because especially right now, we're talking about a historic Final Four. Just the second time where all 4 of the teams that made it are 1 seeds. Okay? All 4 of these teams are considered some of the best teams of all time on KenPom rankings. Okay? We're talking about the elite of the elite. You win within the margins. Okay? That's what it comes down to. The analytics are the analytics for a reason. The 4 factors, effective field goal percentage, turnover percentage, offensive rebound percentage, and free throw rate, are the 4 factors for a reason. They are important. And Florida right now is struggling in an important area. They're getting offensive rebounds at a good rate. That's absolutely true. Like, that's fine. They're good at that. But the flip side of that is to not allow opposing teams to get offensive rebounds. And right now, Florida's allowing that. On top of having some stretches where they're turning the ball over a bit. Those extra possessions add up. Those extra shot attempts add up. They haven't bitten you in the rear end yet, right? They haven't. And I don't care too much for talking about the field goal discrepancy between Florida and Texas Tech because Florida shot way more free throws than Texas Tech, right? But Maryland, despite not being able to get offensive rebounds, because Florida turned the ball over so much, Maryland shot the ball more than Florida did, right? Like because of things like that adding up, it happens. Or sorry, the same amount. But again, free throws happened in that game. You look at the UConn game. UConn shot considerably more field goals than Florida did. You look at the Norfolk State game, and they shot more field goals than Florida did. It happens, right? It happens. But right now, you're losing in key areas where if you're having trouble with smaller teams and you're about to face some of these bigger teams, like Houston's the only small team left. It's going to be a challenge if you don't clean up in these areas. We're going to talk more about what Florida has to do in order to finish this run. Because again, I mean, they're an elite team. No doubt about it. But right now is where you have to win within the margins and every little thing counts. We got something we'll talk about when we get back with this episode of Locked On Gators. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. It's fun to build wealth. I'm just saying, take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. And if you want to see the Florida Gators play one, maybe two more times this year, just saying. I know that, a lot of people didn't book tickets earlier because you didn't know if they'd be there, but now we know where they are. They're going to be in San Antonio. And if you want to see them play on Saturday, or if you want to see them play on Monday, if they make it that far, Game Time is the place to go. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. And it makes it easy with Game Time picks. You find better value on those tickets to sports games. You could also go to concerts, comedy, theater. There's a billion freaking things you can go to on Game Time. All right, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. That's Locked On College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks for being Locked On Gators, your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever in the podcast and on YouTube. And we're going to talk right now about something that's been very frustrating for myself, something that's been very frustrating for the Insider program. In the comments, I see you guys talking about it, maybe because I'm talking about it. But Alex Condon, wakey. Like I don't know what he's got going on right now. Obviously the ankle, but for much of the year, Alex Condon was out here, I mean, hooping. Like, there was no other way to say. He was doing just nuts stuff. The passes he was making were insane. Sprained his ankle during the season, comes back, and is playing well again. And I think that that's important to acknowledge, that after he came back from the ankle, he still played well, right? Like, he wasn't playing horrible. He came back from the ankle, and against Georgia had a rough game. Clearly wasn't looking good at all. Was moving pretty poorly. Had the Texas A&M game, played pretty well against Texas A&M, right? Had Alabama game, played very well against Alabama, 27 points against Alabama, went off, dominated them. Shot 7 for 9 from the free throw line. He had good games against Ole Miss. And at that point, kind of fell off, right? Once the regular season ended, kind of fell off. And I mentioned that good stretch after returning from injury just because I don't want this to seem like it's just, oh yeah, like he sprained his ankle a couple months ago and was just never the same, because that's not true. He came back and played great. And then the SEC tournament came in. And I don't know if the playing back-to-back games, because the SEC tournament, was no days off. They played March 14th, 15th, 16th, and they had 4 or 5 days off and started playing in the March Madness tournament. And so I don't know if the back-to-back stuff started bothering his ankle again or what it was, but he's been playing, in my opinion, poorly for weeks now, basically since the start of the SEC tournament, right? And I know that I've mentioned a lot about defensive rebounding lately and points in the paint allowed. And I know that I had a comment yesterday that asked why I was being harder on Alex Condon and not as hard on Ruben Chinilu. And the answer for that is so simple, right? I have higher expectations for the better basketball player. That's all it comes down to. It's not a knock on Chinilu. Alex Condon is a guy that we talked about as, is he going to be a lottery pick, a first round pick? What's he going to be? We had these conversations about Alex Condon. We didn't have them about Ruben Chinilu. Ruben Chinilu's role, his job, his assignment, rebound, protect the paint, try to score down low if you can. But again, the reason that that's your role is because that's your skill set. Alex Condon is a guy that is a legit part of the offense, a legit part of the defensive game plan as well. He's a big focal point of the entire team. He helped make the team go around. He's just not performing as well lately as he should be or as he previously was, right? Like, you look at his performances in the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, and he's played 7 games because Florida won. They had the double bye in the SEC tournament, won the SEC because they're the best team in the SEC and the best team in the country. They've played 4 games in the NCAA tournament so far. And in those 7 combined games, he's got multiple turnovers in 4 of them. And I don't want anybody to say that that's a tendency he's had all year, because he hasn't, right? He's usually been 0 or 1 for a lot of games, with the occasional multi-turnover game that was bad. So it's not a thing that's just who he is, because that's just not true, okay? So, and he's also, by the way, from last year, gotten way better at protecting the ball, but he's regressed in these recent weeks to turning the ball over a lot. He's only scored double digits twice in that same span, in those 7 games from the start of the SEC tournament. And in those games, it was 13 against Tennessee in the SEC championship and 12 against Norfolk State to open March Madness. Those were the 2 times he scored double digits in these tournaments. All right. His assist to turnover ratio throughout the regular season was 1.8. As in, he had 1.8 assists per turnover. That number's dropped to 1.17. Team average is like 1.44. So that number's dropped dramatically, right? Lower number bad in this, okay? Just if you don't follow, lower number bad. And so he's gone from 1.8 to 1.117. And I know that people think that, that's not a big drop off, but it is. It is. We're talking about a ratio here. And again, that number matters. And I want to make sure that this is a thing too, because I know people are going to say, for his scoring, his shot volume has not changed much. Okay. I don't want people to go, oh, well, he's just shooting less. Not really. Just not. He's just playing worse. He's playing less efficiently. He was shooting in the regular season 7.5 shot attempts per game, 4.9 free throw attempts per game. And then since the start of the SEC tournament, he's at 7 shot attempts, so down 0.5 shot attempts. And he's down to 3.9 free throw attempts per game. Down 1 free throw attempt per game since the start of the SEC tournament. The major difference is not the volume. The major difference is that during the regular season, Alex Condon was shooting 51.7%. The difference is that during the regular season, Alex Condon was shooting very efficiently. He was playing efficient basketball. The difference is that he's gone from 51.7% down to 42.9%. An almost 10% drop. That's what I'm talking about when I say that he's playing worse. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's become a worse player. Maybe his ankle is bothering him more, right? That's totally valid. Makes a lot of sense. He's been playing back-to-backs more. So maybe it is the ankle. But whatever it is, they've got to figure out a way where he can be playing more efficient basketball. Better shots. And look, I'll say this. I think that he did not play well at all against Texas Tech. I think he was getting moved around too much, and the turnovers that he has, because this is the thing, the turnovers that he has are not the turnovers that he used to have, right? Like he got stripped down low, I think 3 times against Texas Tech, turned it over on 1 or 2 of them. But he's gotten the ball stripped from him, and that's not stuff that happened as frequently as it's been happening. Short spot up more. He's not an awesome 3-point shooter, but he's not the worst on the team, right? I don't know what it is about this team or what it is about his play right now that is just he's not playing like himself. He's not playing like the guy that we talked about as a lottery pick. He's not playing like the guy that I think won't be a lottery pick this year, but next year could be if he comes back and shows more consistency. But he's playing bad basketball right now, like messy basketball, inefficient basketball. He's still protecting the paint decently. He's still contesting shots. He's still forcing adjustments from opposing teams, and he's still enforcing the paint, sure. But he's not doing a good enough job boxing his opponent out, boxing his matchup out. He's not doing a good enough job securing these rebounds or protecting the basketball. And he's doing the things that are just really killer right now that you can't have happen to you. And so I don't know what it is that they can fix with him or what they can get him to do differently, but right now he's just not playing Alex Condon basketball. That's why I get frustrated with him, because I know he's considerably better. He played against Auburn last time that they played, which is earlier this year. He played pretty freaking well. Like, he had a great game against Auburn. If he could do that again, that's good. Let me see. He had against Auburn 33 minutes. He had 17 points on 7 for 10 shooting, 3 for 5 from the free throw line. He had 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 turnovers, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, like 1 steal, 2 fouls. Like that's a fine game, right? And did a decent job protecting the paint down low, which again, something that needs to improve here. Janai Broome did not play a good game against him at all, and a lot of that was Alex Condon making adjustments and Alex Condon making life difficult for Janai Broome. It was not about Janai Broome just not playing well. It was Alex Condon. Like, we need to get that level of Alex Condon needs to come back. We are going to talk about one more thing the Florida Gators need to do to make a run here or finish their run here when we get back with Locked On Gators. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. It's Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Okay, and you can go with Supply House's Trade Master program, which, by the way, is free, but they also offer exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. With a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the Bracket Breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever it's the podcast and on YouTube. And to wrap up today's show, we are talking about kill shots. Again, like I will make this joke always, not like in Steve Carell, Tina Fey's date night when it's oh, that's a kill shot, that's a kill shot. No, not that kind of kill shot. If you are unfamiliar, and if you have not been here, evanmiya.com is the source that I use to track this information. Evan, EVANMIYA.com to track that information. But it's kill shots is a 10-0 run or a run of 10-0 or more. So 11-0, 12-0, but once you break that up, that's not the kill shot anymore. And when we talk about this Florida Gators team, they've been very good at going on kill shots and not giving them up. In the tournament, they've given them up more than usual, which, again, makes sense. You're playing better teams. So not only are they more likely to score, but they're more likely to get stops. It makes sense again. And I accept that this team's going to have sloppy stretches, right? This is something that we talked about this before conference play even opened, where, hey, this team is going to frustrate us. They are going to have those moments. We know that they're incredibly talented, but that's always like they can win the national championship. And we're going to talk about them being amazing, right? But one thing that we're also going to talk about is how many frustrating moments they've had. Every team does, right? There's no perfect team. So we will talk about this team as having their sloppy stretches, right? Turnovers. Because the thing with turnovers isn't that it's like, oh yeah, every 4 possessions, 5 possessions, whatever it is. It's closer to like 7 that they're going to have a turnover. It's that they go on these stretches where they have turnover, missed shot, turnover, missed shot, turnover, and they just go through those stretches, and then they play pristine basketball for other stretches of time. Defensive breakdowns. We know that that'll happen. They switch so much that at some point you're going to get confused. You're going to get mixed up. You're both going to run after the same person, that there's going to be those kinds of screw ups, we'll say, right? Those will happen. Those are when other teams go on their kill shots against Florida. It is not about other teams getting just clean stops. Because also the thing that I've said so many times about Florida's turnovers is that it's not often, oh, the other team made a great play. It's that Florida does just boneheaded things at times. I can't explain it, but they just make boneheaded decisions. Like whether it's the full court inbound or the behind the head pass, or I don't even know why Ruben Chinilu's dribbling 4 times and down low and trying to just pump it, and just silly things like that going on. Makes no sense. It's those turnovers. We saw against Texas Tech, they had, I think, 2 of their first 3 turnovers were shot clock violations, if I'm not mistaken. And we are at a time right now where 3 of the 4 teams still available are in the top 10 of kill shots per game. All right? 3 of the 4 teams are in the top 10. It's Duke, then Auburn, then Florida. And Florida's 10th. Houston is the only team not in there, and they are still number 20. Okay? So even then, or they're still top 20, sorry. So they're still top 20. So even then, they're still a really good team, and this is by the same 364 that we're talking about for KenPom. Top 20 in that. All 4 are in the top 20 of kill shot margin. So taking the number of kill shots they go on per game and subtracting it from the number of kill shots they give up per game. All 4 are in the top 20 of kill shot margin. And again, the way that we talk about this, the reason that I'm talking about this is the context matters. Florida's had their sloppy stretches, and they're going to have their sloppy stretches. But we also know that you cannot allow these opposing teams to go on kill shots when they're already really good defensively. All 4 of these teams, top 10 in offensive rating, offensive efficiency on KenPom, top 10 in defensive efficiency on KenPom. Like, we could talk about Houston offensively not being amazing, right? That's not because they're bad on offense. It's because they play so slow. That's always been the thing. It's not about their offense is bad or poor or sloppy. It's that they play slow. That's it. Duke, Florida, Auburn have been teams that we've been talking about in the elite of the elite for a long while now. Got to figure these things out, and you can't let these other teams go on runs when they're already good at going on runs and already good at stopping runs. We talked about this at the start of the tournament. Way more often than not, the team that goes on more kill shots throughout a game wins. Even if that's 1-0, 2-1, the team that goes on more usually wins that game. When you're talking about the team going on more kill shot runs and you're talking about 4 elite teams, again, this is not any other Final Four. This is not like anything else. Even the 2008, I think it was, when all 4 of the teams that made it were 1 seeds. This is a time where the 4 teams in here are all 4 considered top 10 teams of all time on KenPom. Like, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the elite of the elite going at it, and winning within the margins is huge. And it's a really big margin, kill shot. Because kill shot isn't offensive rebound percentage. Where out 1% difference might not hurt you. 1 difference might not hurt you. Kill shot is 10 points, a 10-point difference. Losing 1 of those will hurt you. So if you are the team that goes on 1 kill shot and you give up 2, that's a 10-point swing right there, minimum 10-point swing right there. That's a lot. That adds up, right? We're talking about close games should be the expectation for the rest of the tournament, the next 3 games, as in the 2 Final Four games in the championship. Close games should be the expectation. Cannot afford to lose in any of the margins, let alone one as big as kill shot. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow. Talk more Florida Gators basketball. I think we're going to try to get Zach Blackerby of Locked On Auburn here for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI, and I'll see you all next time.